So I want to talk a little bit about why the Model X. In a previous video, I mentioned some reasons about why we're getting the vehicle now as opposed to later, and there's a number of reasons for that, so check out that video if you're considering ordering this month, which today's the 20th, so there's not much left of January this year. But anyway, basically most of it comes down to electrifying a family vehicle or switching to a family vehicle that's an electric vehicle. So we have a car and an SUV. So we have the Model S and then an Acadia SUV. And if we need space, a lot of space, then we have to take the Acadia. And we've taken the Model S on a number of trips, including cross-country ones, where we had the dog as well as Cordelia and a car seat, as well as all our stuff, which includes suitcases, a pack and play, which we have a pretty compact one, but still takes up space, and then we have a Thule stroller, one of the three-wheeled varieties, which takes up space. So the Model S has plenty of space, and we've been able to do those trips just fine. But it is still limited, and you notice it getting a little more cramped a little bit faster. So when we were going to take a trip, we kind of have to decide, like, okay, do we want the convenience of the large vehicle, or do we, try to fit everything in the Model S and drive for free and, get to drive the Tesla? So we had to kind of trade off for those. So, but with the Model X, now our family vehicle is a electric vehicle. So the big vehicle has the Tesla experience, has free supercharging, autopilot and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like convenience versus electric anymore. So that'll be really cool. And then, so public service announcement, we're having another girl at the end of May. So new baby coming along, and that just sort of accentuates the space issue, because now we will have two kids, not just in car seats, but in rear-facing car seats. So rear-facing car seats in terms of space and accessibility are a completely different ballgame than forward-facing seats. So when we just had one car seat, we would use the single middle seat, and then we would often have the other two seats with the 60-40 split down. So two seats would be down, and then Gidget could hang out there, and that would also give us more luggage space. But if we have two car seats, there's no way we're going to fit two car seats plus Gidget plus all kinds of stuff. So, because it's not just the car seat, but now the stroller is going to get bigger because it's going to be a double and all that kind of stuff. So that was a big reason. That would mean we'd be pretty much using the Acadia wherever we went on as a family, which means, basically I'm just using the Model S to do videos and do my 6-mile commute every morning. 6 miles one way, but still it's pretty small. So I wouldn't get to drive a Tesla much. So besides that, a bunch of other things. So one thing that I was kind of holding off on, I don't think I would have gotten a Model X yet if it didn't have the 100D configuration. So first of all-wheel drive is great for snow areas. I wouldn't, by choice, get a rear wheel or front wheel drive only vehicle here. And I know I've done a video before about how you can get by just fine with snow tires. That's true. And if I had to choose between all-wheel drive and a bigger battery, I would pretty much always choose the bigger battery, at least for a family vehicle that we'd be taking on long trips. But anyway, the 100D is rated at just under 300 miles. I think it's like 295 miles. And of all the battery packs, the 100D actually packs in the most power. I think, according to noted hacker Jason Hughes' findings, the 100D is actually a 102 kilowatt hour pack with a usable amount of like 98 plus kilowatt hours. So you're really getting the biggest bang for your buck. And that's really important for the Model X, which rides a little bit. Well, it's taller. I don't know that it rides higher than the Model X or Model S, but it doesn't have quite as good aerodynamics and stuff like that. So you're not going to get as good efficiency. So you definitely want as big a battery as possible. So all that to say, the 100 kilowatt hour pack, I think, is completely reasonable, and it's very sufficient and big enough to be plenty convenient on long trips. even with supercharging and all that kind of stuff. So it may get bigger. Musk has made comments before that they're probably not going to make the batteries any bigger than 100, except maybe for the pickup truck. So, but we'll see. I bet if there's any upgrades, I could see them going to 110 or 120 in the Model S and Model X. But I don't really see that coming too soon. I could be wrong, but so that was no longer a factor to make me wait. Also, this is a small thing, but it's easier to get into. I'm kind of tall. Well, I mean, I'm 6 feet, but I'm not the most flexible. So, in getting into cars like the Model S, I kind of have to, kind of back up, and then you just kind of fall into the seat and hope you don't, hit your head or something, and then bring your legs in. So, I had a Volt before this, which that was the same deal. I also had a Jeep Wrangler, which was completely different. It was much higher because it was lifted and stuff. And you basically the seat is about my standing height. So it was just a complete lateral transfer. So I kind of like the convenience of getting into SUV height vehicles. The Model X isn't super high or anything, but that'll be at least noticeable. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Easier getting in and getting out of. And that's just the front doors. That's not even to mention the Falcon Wing doors, which I want to do a little demonstration about, especially with rear-facing car seats. It's pretty nutty trying to get your kid into a rear-facing car seat with the Model S. And of course, upgrading to a new Tesla brings on the next generation autopilot, which right now is of no benefit compared to AP1. The hardware, the cameras have been out for like over a year, I think. Yeah, for sure. But the software hasn't really caught up to parity with Autopilot 1 until recently. From what I've seen, which I haven't really delved into it much, but I think it's getting pretty close to Autopilot 1 capabilities. So that's definitely taken a lot longer than people anticipated. So, but in the meantime, I've enjoyed AP1 based on the what's the chip? Mobileye chip in mine, and it works great. So, but moving to the custom Tesla cameras and basically Autopilot 2, that it'll be really cool as that gets developed more and more to experience that. And I suspect there's going to be big developments this year. I think they've been putting in a lot of work last year but haven't been able to actually transfer updates, so I think there's going to be much more significant updating on that front this year. So that'll be cool. A couple other small things. So the Model X has rear heating and AC control, like separate from the front. The Model S does not. In fact, heating and air conditioning of the second row in the Model S is not that great. There's 2 vents back there, which you can get a lot of airflow back there, but the air that gets there, at least for heat, is significantly cooler than what comes out of especially the driver's side. And I actually measured it and thought something was wrong with my vehicle, and then the service technician, he measured it as well, and there's a difference between the driver's side vents, the passenger side vents, and then the second row vents. So it'll be nice to have independent controls since we're populating the second row a little bit more now. And of course, so the Falcon Wing doors, it's going to be so nice to have that headroom when putting kids in 2 rear-facing car seats. So that'll be super nice. And let me show you why. Nice clean Model S. All right, let me show you what I mean. So when you're putting a kid in the back seat of a sedan, in a car seat, it's difficult enough with a car seat or a booster seat, but when you have a rear-facing arrangement like this, you've got this window blocking this access, and then you've got the car seat head part blocking this, so you end up with a very small box right about here that is not only small, but it's also low. So unless you're really small, you have to kind of, you know, scrunch down like this, and then you're holding the kid and trying to do this, and then getting seat belts together, and then trying to tighten the thing. Whew. But anyway, the head can go really far over here towards where the back of the front seat is. So because this is a sedan, you sit lower up in the front. So, hold on, let me adjust this. Yeah, so if I'm sitting lower to the ground, I'm still the same height regardless of what position I'm in. So that means that my legs have to get extended farther, which means my seat has to be farther back in order to accommodate my legs. Whereas if you have a higher seat in the front, your legs, you know, go down a little bit and then towards the pedals. So you can kind of be closer up front, more bench style seating as opposed to like really flat, almost reclined kind of seating. So in the Model S, that's why my seat has to be so far back, is because I'm so far down. And I don't have any vertical travel to soak up the length of my legs, if that makes any sense. All that to say, putting more rear-facing car seats back here would be a challenge. You can see my seat actually is farther back, so we wouldn't even be able to fit another one in the Model S. So, and not to mention, it's much easier to do this. It's actually much easier to do this in a conventional SUV because at least I'm operating up here instead of way down here. So all kinds of reasons in this regard that the Model X is going to be awesome, because basically this whole part of the roof comes off, and it's higher to begin with, so I don't have to bend down so far. Another cool thing about the Model X, of course, is the panoramic front windshield, which unfortunately is fairly expensive to replace, but is an awesome thing to experience. Here in Michigan, a lot of our stoplights are suspended on wires going across the intersections. If you're at the front of the line, the stoplight is actually kind of out of your view, and you kind of have to shrink down like this to make sure that you're actually able to see it when it turns colors. I wish that Tesla would, even if the car doesn't respond or take action in autopilot with different stoplight colors, I wish it would actually give you an indicator what color your light is, just, you know, so you don't have to do this. But anyway, with the big windshield in the Model X, that's not even a problem, even for somebody at 6 foot tall like me. So that'll be nice. So there's a lot of kind of small things like that where, you know, why, you know, I've wanted to get a Model X for a while. It's basically a combination of all those things, and really it boils down to, you know, our family's growing, we're gonna need more space, we tend to pack a lot of stuff, so a lot of things that I was waiting for with the Model X have been, you know, are already here, so there isn't really a good reason to wait. And I thought a lot about, I didn't think I wanted to get unlimited supercharging, but I just enjoy trips more when that's part of the experience. And I know it still would be cheap, and you know, whatever. But so I decided, because I was gonna wait for like the next gen battery, maybe a refresh for the outside or the inside of the Model X, but obviously I'm not going to, because I ordered one. So I decided those things weren't critical. And really, if we ended up using our gas vehicle, which is a 2007 Acadia, which has over 200,000 miles, if we end up pretty much always using that vehicle when the whole family goes somewhere, I like driving Teslas. It's part of the experience. It's really fun. So switching out our family vehicle to an electric vehicle, the Model X, is going to be really cool.